Zwifters, the final stage of season 3, stage 8, Surrey Hills in London, and what a queen stage to finish off this season. I am super excited about this stage. I mean, it's not your last stage if you've got your playoffs, but for most of us, it's the final stage. Yes, it's long. Yes, it's going to be hard. Yes, it's got a similar elevation gain to Alpe de Zwift, but what a stage this promises to be. I'm going to cover the times. I'm going to cover the bike choice, a bit to think about there, and I'm going to cover the tactics which you and your team might think about adopting for this final race. So let's get into the recon. Alright, so in terms of race distances, the A's and B's are going to be covering 44 kilometres, C and D you're going to be covering 37 kilometres. You guys have got your own bespoke finish at the bottom of one of the descents. I'm going to cover that in a bit more detail. In terms of climbs, we've got Fox Hill, Leith Hill, Box Hill, Keith Hill, and then the A's and B's, you're going to finish off on the summit of Fox Hill. Points available on 3 climbs. Those are Leith Hill, Keith Hill, and Fox Hill. Those are fastest through and first across the line. So let's get onto course, have a look at the start, and then look at these climbs in a bit more detail. Okay, so this start section, you've got about 2.5 kilometres here of rolling roads through London and the tube station, entering the park before we get to that foot of the first climb, which is Fox Hill. You're going to get to the foot of Fox Hill at the 2.5 kilometre mark. So Fox Hill is around about 2.4 kilometres long. It's got an average gradient of 4.9%. It kicks up early, flattens out, and then kicks up again towards the end of the climb. The finishing point, this is the important part, the finishing point of Fox Hill is at kilometre 5. So you're thinking about picking up those points, it's kilometre 5 on your clock that you need to be making sure you're at the front of that group or pushing on for that fastest through time. After that, you've got a long descent of about 4 kilometres before we start to approach the second climb of the day, which is Leith Hill. Alright, so let's look at Leith Hill in a bit more detail. Now this is deceptive because actually the time segment on Leith Hill is only 1.9 kilometres long, and it comes at the end section of what I think is the climb. You're actually going to start to see the road pick up at around about the 9.1 kilometre mark, this point here. It then picks up a little bit before flattening off until you then get into the timed segment. Now the time segment is going to start at kilometre 12.3, and you're going to reach the top of Leith Hill at 14.4 kilometre mark. Now it is a section where you've got KOM, first across the line, and fastest through segments. So as we come down Keith Hill, we've then reached the bottom at 19.2 kilometres. Then you've got a rolling road section until about kilometre 19.6. We're then going to start to approach Box Hill. Now Box Hill is a 3 kilometre climb, 4.3% average gradient. The Box Hill top is at 24.6 kilometres. But please note that there's no first across the line or fastest through points on Box Hill. We're going to start the long descent as we start to think about Keith Hill, which is the longest climb on today's stage. You're going to reach the foot of Keith Hill at kilometre 30.1. Now this climb is 4.3 kilometres, 5% average gradient, and the summit is at kilometre 31.7. So this is the important part, 31.7. This is where if you want the fastest through, first across the line points, 31.7. But I'm going to put all this information in the DS sheet, which I'm going to share at the end of this video. So after we finish Keith Hill, you're going to start your descent of Leith Hill. It's the bottom of this climb at kilometre 38 that the C and D riders are going to have your finish. So if you have one of those power-ups like the Anvil, this is the time to use it. And we'll talk a bit more about power-ups later on in the video. For the A and B riders, we're going to continue to the final climb of the day, where we're going to ascend Fox Hill for the second and final time. So Fox Hill again, 2.4 kilometers, 4.9% average gradient. You're going to start the climb at 41.6 kilometers, and then the race finish, the climb finish, is at kilometer 44.1. Okay, so in terms of bike choice, it's a climber's course. This is where the moves, the decisive moves of the race are going to be made, is on the climbs. Although we've got the Anvil as a power-up, which is going to improve your ability to descend by adding weight, I do not see the race being decided necessarily on one of the descents. Maybe in the C and D riders. But I think it's going to be made on the climbs, on the ascents. So I would be going for a climber's frame and a climber's wheel. So check out Eric's pages at Zwift Insider for more information on the bikes available at your level. The great news is that the best climbing frames and the best climbing wheels are typically available in the lower levels, level 11 I think and below in the game. So most of us should be able to get a great bike for climbing. The Tron bike is not necessarily the great climbing bike, so think about binning that and go for a true climbing frame and wheel set for this particular event. Alright, so in terms of power-up, we have the Anvil, which I said, again, is going to improve your ability to descend. We have the Draft. If you get an opportunity to draft on some of the middle sections, on some of the more gentle sections on the climb, then good on you. And then we've got the Feather, again, which I shall be praying for once again this week to make climbing that little bit easier, to stay in touch with that front group. So as always guys, I've put together a quick DS sheet, a summary sheet for you, which is here. I'm also going to put a link to it in the description below. Okay, so in terms of course times, they're going to come on screen now. Don't forget guys, if you really do want to try this course out before Tuesday, then go ahead. The team at Racing Without Borders are putting on their regular Recon Ride. That's on Saturday before the Tuesday's race. Make sure you get plenty of recovery in between. Again, I've left a link in the description below. Alright, so in terms of points guys, there are plenty of points available. Leith Hill, Keith Hill and Fox Hill are the points where you've got fastest through and first across the lines. So there's details here on the points that you get, plenty available, but of course we've got those all-important finish line points, which you're only going to pick up if you're in contention and stick with that front bunch for the rest of these climbs. There is so much to think about here guys in terms of team tactics. You could utilise riders early on, Fox Hill, bury themselves to get their fastest through or even first across the line points. They might blow up later on the course, but that's something to think about as well. Maybe you've got your riders who've got a bit more endurance, a bit more attritional, who can just stick with that front group through each climb, picking up those first across the line points and also picking up those finish line points as well. So have a chat with your team, have a think, let me know what you're thinking, put some comments in below. Maybe we can all steal some of these tactics and ideas that you've got, but really think about how you're going to pick up these all important points. So that's it guys, the final recon of season 3. Thank you everyone who liked the videos, commented on the videos and subscribed to the channel. Don't worry, we've still got plenty of Zwift action, but we've also got some real world cycling action coming in the next couple of weeks as well. So if you haven't already, please subscribe, it really does help the channel. And if you haven't already, please share the channel on Facebook with your friends, cycling, Zwifters, whatever it might be. It really does help the channel. And I'll see you guys next week.